perhaps the bit that stands out the most is the moment when you're asking him about the exact chain of events which led to his downfall and whether he'd reflected on it. And obviously one of the most notable components of that was the Chris Pincher affair, in which, just to remind people, a whip, Conservative Party whip at the time, was accused of sexually assaulting a young male Conservative Party worker. And Boris Johnson's response to even any reflection on that, and his role in denying what he knew about that at the time, was to fake, mock, snore.
Would you have listened to your colleagues a bit more when they conveyed their unease over things like the Chris Pincher affair, the Owen Paterson row, at any of these turning points?
Okay, look, Julia.
What were you thinking when he did that?
So my initial question to him was actually, 1 year on from all of this, are there any decisions that you would have made differently? And he said, well, COVID was very, very difficult, and the decision to lock down was a tough one. And he was actually talking about how that was a right decision that he'd made. So that wasn't the question I'd asked. So that's when I said, for example, should you have behaved differently when your colleagues told you they were uneasy about how the whole Chris Pincher affair was going down? And as I was asking that, he sort of leant back a little. He sort of rolled his eyes and looked over at Richard, who was the other man in the interview, and then he started to snore when I brought up that story, which is about sexual assault allegations.
And how did you interpret that?
So, in the heat of the moment, I could see that he was trying to undermine my question, and what I tried to do was not rise to it. I sort of acted like it wasn't happening. I mean, one of the things that I had been advised by fellow journalists was, he will do things to try and put you off. He will try to intimidate you. He will try to, make it very difficult. And so I tried to keep calm and, no, please answer my question. And it was only really until watching it back that I thought that moment was extraordinary, because it shows that 1 year on from this, something that was the straw that broke the camel's back after all of the different scandals which his administration had been implicated in and had been plagued with. His attitude to all of that is boring.
The Newsagents. This is a Global Player original podcast.